Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite makes the process of becoming a published, best-selling author as simple as sipping your morning cup of coffee. You can learn more about Authors Unite at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Djoea with us. He lives in Amsterdam and is a social selling expert. So welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. Grateful to have you here, man. Really cool that you live in Amsterdam, and we'll dive right in. The first one I have for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Oh, that's an interesting question, man. I think one of the stories that had a direct message, especially for me, is a story from my youngest son. A couple of years ago, he was 4 years old, and near my house there's some water, and every year birds, during fall, birds land there while they come from northern Europe. They fly to, I don't know, Africa or something. And during their flight, they land and they rest in this water for a couple of days. And I was together with my son, holding his hand, walking outside, and he was looking at his birds, and he was just looking at them and staring at them. And I told him, like, hey, these are birds. They just rest here, and they are flying towards the south. And do you know why they do that? Do you know why they fly? So I was trying to explain them something like, birds fly to the south because they have to survive. There's no food in the Nordics, and something like this. And he looked at me, and I was like, yeah, of course. He was 4 years old, and he was like, yeah, of course, I know why they fly to the south. They fly because they have wings. And I just stood there and looked at him, and it was like, wow, the whole concept of surviving did just not enter his mind at all. He was just looking at these birds and, just, I don't know, thinking about, okay, what is the potential? Like, if I can fly, I would go to the side as well. And so I realized that in this answer he gave me, that he actually told me, like, hey, Dad, always go for your potential. Don't always act in survival mode, but just, spread your wings, fly, reach out for your full potential. And since that day, this is something I remember and I think back to a lot. Just, remembering, okay, the moments where when things get tight or things get difficult, and sometimes in some moments you're just surviving, just doing things because you have to. Just step back and realize, okay, well, I got more in me, and just reach for your potential and spread your wings and fly and go for it. Yeah. And it gives me a lot of energy, and this is something that impacted me as a person. Maybe, it helps other people as well.
Yeah, man, that is an awesome story, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And so now we'll kind of dive into like your expertise. So, like, what's the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Yeah. As I told you earlier, I'm a B2B marketing expert. I help people or companies and entrepreneurs with their social selling skills and their B2B marketing. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is, okay, how can we sell faster? How can we get results faster? And my answer for them is like, well, you're in a B2B concept, right? So lead to deal time is long. Sometimes it just takes time. When you want to, get a big account or a big client or whatever, it takes time. So be patient as hell. Be on it as well for 100%, but also be patient. So it's like, I don't know how you call it, like aggressively patient or something like this. Do what you got to do everything you got to do, but realize that you have to, you're playing the long-term game. So be really, really patient and accept that building businesses will take years and years, and that is just totally fine. And that is one of the things I talk with my clients a lot, because they have to realize there are no quick wins in sales or marketing, especially in the B2B, right? You can't trick other entrepreneurs in buying your consulting products or IT products or whatever you're selling just by some quick wins. You have to keep adding value until the time is right.
Yes, I agree, man. And patience is just huge. And I think in today's world,
Huge.
it's just so hard for people because, on social media and stuff, all you see is other people's highlight reel. So when you're like at home and you're like, maybe let's just say you're not where you want to be professionally, let's say, and everybody else looks like they are, like, just know that like everybody's putting out a highlight reel. So we all are growing and everything, and patience is just the biggest thing. It'll actually change the way you make decisions if you have patience. So I think that's huge, man. And it could lead into the next one. The next one is, what's your best piece of overall business advice? So if you have a different answer for that, go ahead.
Yeah, well, actually, it's maybe the best advice. Maybe it's exactly the same. Be patient as well, but there's some other thing like you can't be patient forever, right? You have to keep going and keep grinding, keep hustling, keep whatever, do what you got to do. So the other thing is like, and right now we're living in, what is it, 2018? It is a classic thing, but keep adding value. And most businesses, even this day, they just don't get that concept. They just want to get instead of give. And I think the best advice is just, as long as you keep giving value, whatever you want, and however you like, combine that with patience and be really on top of it as well. I think that is the best overall advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Yeah, I only have one life. And I did waste a lot of time just, doing dumb stuff. And that's okay. But if I would, give my younger self some advice, just make some choices earlier, act on them, and maybe they're the wrong choices. It could be, but not making choices, not act on them. I would give myself the advice to make some choices and act on them earlier. Yeah.
And in your opinion, what's the key to happiness?
Growth. I think growing as a person, in personal development, in relationships, I think that is a real key to happiness. I don't know why. It's just something I think. So helping people grow or helping yourself grow, I think that is I don't know if it's the key, but it's a big key to just being happy. Yeah.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really a book reader. I would like to be. I tried a lot. I bought a lot of books, and I just I'm more of a YouTube guy. I'm sorry about that. But one book that I read and that really grabbed me, that was Sell to Survive by Grant Cardone. It's a famous book. A lot of people know it. And I don't know why. Maybe it was the time in my life where I was really searching for new opportunities, but that one grabbed me by the throat. And yes, I read it, I think, in 2 hours or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that book. And I actually live down in Miami, so I'm like 20 minutes from his offices. Or his office rather, and great. All of his stuff I think is great. And the next one is, what's your favorite quote and why?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Quotes. There are so many great quotes, but I think one that really took me is "You're going to die," and I think who quoted that. That was Gary Vaynerchuk, of course. Just a message like, there's only one life. Realize that. Make it happen right now.
And I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee, so I love it. And last question I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
Best place to find me is, of course, LinkedIn. Find me, hook me up. That is the best place to find me. Yeah.
Perfect, man. Thanks again for jumping on.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.